It's finally here, the Asus ROG Ally Z1 Extreme. It's a handheld computer, but it's not this. I think the ROG Ally is going to be the magic device that is a lot like a Steam Deck, but as portable as a Nintendo Switch. Just want to point out clearly that Asus did send me this review unit for the purposes of making this video, but they didn't instruct me to say anything specifically positive or negative. They just asked me to make a review. Let's just jump into the unboxing itself. You can see a picture of the device. I'm guessing that this is the actual size. Just get the box open, pull the plastic off. Cue the treasure chest opening music. Whoa, there it is, the ROG Ally. Oh, I see. This is the docking station, maybe? I think this might be the docking station. Asus has a separate product available. It's called the ROG Gaming Charger Dock, but I'll unbox this probably in a separate video just because I think we're gonna have our hands full with this handheld here. And now let's look at the console itself. I keep calling it a console. Let's just show you what it looks like with all of the plastic still on it. Oh man, I love the way that it reflects the rainbow in that metallic stripe. There's some instructions here about charging it, but we're going to ignore that because this is YouTube and we just ignore stuff like that. Rip the plastic part. Feast your eyes on the Asus ROG Ally Z1 Extreme. I can't get over how stylish every aspect of this controller is. It's like got the name engraved here, ROG, on the palm rest of the device. Metallic surround over the power button. Like it's got little textured edges here on the triggers and the shoulder buttons. These are in a really good position. There's like a shape to these back paddles, and so instead of just tapping them down like this, you can actually put your finger around the edge and just like use a combination of whatever motion you want. You can use the pressing motion, or you can use the sort of curling your finger inward and pressing it at this angle motion. The fact that it's got this nice ridge here on the back of these handles means that you can kind of balance it in a way that I haven't been able to balance any other handheld before. I'm like resting it on this grip here at the back, and at the same time I'm counterbalancing it with my palms just lodged in place. There's gonna be so many different ways to play. Okay, and I've just noticed now, look at this screen. They have really well made this bezel so that it just feels like the whole screen just extends to the complete edges of the device entirely. Of course, when you look closer, you can see that they are bezels. Of course, not actually an edge-to-edge screen. This is a 7-inch display, so on par with all the other popular handheld consoles and handheld PCs out there. But the big difference here is that this is a 1080p screen that can run 120 hertz. If you're a fighting gamer, you'll know that that's quite exciting because getting a high refresh rate is one of the only ways to get back to the era of low lag gameplay that we used to have in the CRT era of gaming. If you want to set this up and play fighting games and you don't have an external monitor and you want to play lag free at the same timings that you've got the muscle memory set to, 120 hertz on this handheld is going to be a dream. Plus, it's running Windows, so we're hopefully not going to have any of that delay, which supposedly may have been incurred by the Steam Deck since it's running Linux and has to translate Windows games through the Proton layer. There's just so many features on here, I don't even really know where to start, but let's just try and go through them one at a time. Let's start with the directional controls. First, we have analog sticks. They feel pretty standard. They do click in like most analog sticks do, so you've got your L3 and R3 buttons. Let's take a look at the D-pad, because if I want to play fighting games, I want a good D-pad so I don't have to always set it up on a table and then have to bring out an arcade stick or a gamepad. Good news is there's a pivot in the middle. This position is not as low as it feels on an Xbox, but it's not as high up and to the edge as something like the Steam Deck. It's right here. It really does feel like if you rotate your thumb over from here, this is pretty much exactly where it falls. We've got the start button and the select button. These are nice and clicky. Let's try the action buttons now. We've got X, Y, A, B. They feel like standard membrane buttons that you would get on any controller. They're actually quite clicky. They don't have clicky switches. They're not clicky mechanical switches, but they do have a bit of a click to them, and you can even hear it. If you were playing in bed and someone was sitting next to you trying to go to bed, then I can imagine where buttons like this would be kind of annoying, but you can press them in, you can learn to press them in a way that it would be a little bit quieter. It's not as quiet as other devices though, for sure. I'm guessing that these two holes here are microphones. Flipping it over to the top of the console, you can see we've got the shoulder buttons and the shoulder triggers. These are proper analog triggers, which is awesome if you're going to be playing racing games or FPS games or anything that needs a proper trigger, unlike the Nintendo Switch. Along the top of here, we've got the power button. I have no idea what these LEDs are for, probably the battery life and whether it's on. There's some sort of volume switch here. This looks like a docking port, which is integrated with the USB-C port. Here in the middle, looks like your SD card goes in the top. Most handheld makers are putting the SD card here on the bottom, and I'm like, if it falls out, I know that it's not going to pop out anyway. And we also have a port here for your headphones. A headphone jack, even in 2023. Who'd have thought it? I believe these are speaker grills. You've got the palm rest grips here on the sides. Oh man, look at these holographic emblems on the grips. Everything about this device makes you like want to be an enthusiast. We haven't even turned it on. I'm just getting excited about the outside. It looks like we've got some sort of ventilation here for the innards. These probably also act as ventilation, but as you can see, they are the Asus ROG. This is the Asus ROG logo, and it has that holographic strip. I just love the way it does that. Also on the back of the Ally, we have the back paddle buttons, which I was speaking about earlier. Along the top, we also have these fan grills. Inside this cardboard pouch, we've got the instruction manual and warranty information. Inside this part, opening up this box is like Pandora. Oh, here we go. You can see it is a 65-watt adapter. In terms of length, because that's really important, this looks like a 1.5 to almost maybe 1.8 meters. Now, I did say that this is just an unboxing, but look at this thing. We have to turn it on. Let's go ahead and press the power button and see. Okay, very stylish, very gamer, but that's what this is all about, right? All right, I'm gonna get Windows set up. Lift repeatedly and rest your finger until it's complete. 5, 6, 7. You can see right here on the description, it is already running at 120 Hertz by default, and it's amazing. Like, even basically, I was only looking at this one menu screen, but the way it zooms out like that, that's nice. It's very snappy. Everything moves really, really quickly. So this is where I can change various things. I'm in turbo operating mode, FPS limiting. You can change the general refresh rate and the resolution. All right, the moment of truth. We've downloaded Steam, we've downloaded Street Fighter 6, the demo. Let's press play and see if it actually loads. This screen is phenomenal. It's so gorgeous. Okay, hold on a second. I think I need to figure out what the settings are gonna be to make this run at the correct speed. Could just change the graphics settings down to 720p. You can see the FPS has gone up to 60 now. I will have to figure out what settings can actually be used to set this at 1080p, because I get the feeling like it probably is possible. Buttons feel pretty good to press so far. For actual technical motions, which you can do. Super, come on. Yes. Run straight into my fireball, please. Thank you. Ha! Just look at this screen. And so portable as well. Like, this is basically, with these sort of grips here on the side, it's basically the size of a Nintendo Switch, but just a little bit bigger. All right, that's all for the unboxing of the Asus ROG Ally Z1 Extreme. I know it's a bit of a mouthful, but this thing basically does so many things that other handhelds and other consoles just are not doing. Namely, running a full version of Windows 11. It's got a fingerprint sensor on top of the fact that it's got RDNA 3, basically everything you could ask for, and I was absolutely expecting it to be over $1,000. But the fact that it comes in under $700 is is a little bit mind-blowing. And obviously I have to test it. I have no idea how it's going to do performance-wise, but just when you think about the specs alone, it's a very impressive proposition. Even if it were not that actually powerful, I'd be like, wow, it just looks really nice. This is something I would be much happier to carry around than some of the other handhelds that are out there in terms of size and in terms of design. If you change your settings in all your games, you can actually get games to run at 1080p and take advantage of this gorgeous screen, which is also capable, I can't believe it, of running at 120 Hertz. If you do want to see my actual final review of this when I've had some time to actually test it out, be sure that you're subscribed to the channel. Comment on your favorite aspect of the Z1 Ally, because there are too many features to count, and I'm looking forward to going through them all with you in a future video. Like the video if you haven't done so already. That's all I've got time for. I've been NihongoGamer, and I'll see you real soon.